in the finals.
The Indiana Pacers are in the NBA Finals, bro.
We're in the finals.
So welcome to episode 71, the bonus episode. You received a few messages from some of our friends and fans of the show who hit us up and were like, yo, we need y'all to do a finals breakdown.
Yeah.
Up a few days ago, we're like, let's run it. And we were like, great idea. So big shouts to the people who hit up Pops and I, who asked for this bonus episode. It wasn't even in our wheelhouse. We weren't even thinking about it, but we're here. We're glad to do it. And you guys were absolutely right. So episode 71, the NBA Finals Breakdown bonus edition. Today is June 4th.
Yep.
And the Mother Cuffin NBA Finals tip off tomorrow with the Oklahoma City Thunder versus our Indiana Pacers.
Yes, sir.
Before we start kicking off what we're going to talk about, Show Me Some Mary, which is really nothing but the NBA Finals. But before we talk about that, you know what we do, bro. Mic checks. How the hell are you doing? What's going on with you? How's your spirits? How's your heart? What's popping?
I'm pretty good. I had a really tough week last week. I'll be very transparent, as I always am with my mental health, right? So I had a very, very tough week last week.
To you, I knew that.
Yeah.
I could feel it.
Yeah. So that was rough, but you know, we're here. Luckily, what I do now that I didn't used to do is I'm vocal when I do have those things. So I let people know. And just said, hey, just so you know, here's the why, here's the what, here's exactly what I'm actually thinking, as dark as it may be, as light as it may be. This is where my brain is, right? So just so everyone knows, we're on the same page and we can kind of move on from there. So feeling better this week. I'll be honest with you, the Pacers being in the finals really, really helps that.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
And this is just a vulnerable question between two people who love each other, brothers. Like, when you are experiencing that, what can I do as your brother and one of your best friends to help you through that?
I don't think, obviously many people ask. Like, I told my boss where I was mentally just because I feel like she should know why I'm quiet at work. I told wifey, I told mom, just like, hey, if I have, like, I haven't responded to you, I haven't done this, here's the why, here's what I'm thinking. There's not really a good answer to say, what can I do besides I know that when you say, what can I do? It's genuinely what I can do and it's not a check mark activity where it can be, right? Like there's so many people in our lives where we're just checking off the box. Okay, I did it and I can move on now.
No.
I think it's just the knowing you're there and available is probably the biggest thing that anyone can do when somebody's kind of going through some stuff mentally. It's always a constant like readjustment, and I have my good days, have my bad days. But like I said, the one thing that I love about myself is I'm just more vocal about it, which helps me. I used to be just so quiet and just sit in my darkness, and that's not what's good about it. I try to go find the light and be around people that are, bountiful when it comes to light. So that's what I'm doing. But no, I appreciate that. Like you do exactly what you should do, and that's say stuff like that.
My dog. Okay. Well, you're loved. I appreciate the vulnerability. I'm glad that you're having a better week, and we will continue to navigate through this together as we always have.
Always.
My dog.
How about you? What's going on? You were like dragon yesterday.
Bro, literally Dungeons
and Dragons.
What I realized is what I realized is last week I had no energy. Like I told you, like I was exhausted last week. So I feel like me being sick these last few days is the tail end of my exhaustion and then me being sick. And also running around the memorial and running around breakaway, covering for clients at the gym and covering for other trainers at the gym. And doing the stuff that I've been doing the last pretty much 6 weeks nonstop. You know me, I won't stop until my body makes me stop. So my body finally this last few days was like, nah. So I've taken a nap for at least 3 hours almost every day this week just because I've been tired. So I've been listening to my body, and that shit is so important. I haven't touched a weight. I haven't went for no runs. I haven't done no cardio. I've been listening to my body.
I love that.
So important, people. Listen to your body. So we're good now, much better. Still nasally, as you can probably hear. Still got some stuff going on. Probably by this weekend, I will be back to feeling like Brian Franklin peeing once again.
I love that.
For sure, for sure. Was Tej here? You saw Tej, right?
Yeah, she flew in quickly for Marcus's friend. That's pretty much like in hospice. I think that's the word that I need to use.
About to cross over pretty soon.
Yeah. So they were at Ashley's, so I drove out there really quick just to see him.
That's what's up.
Like an hour and a half, 2 hours, just like, hey. And then they were out at 6 a.m. Sunday. Like it was a very, very fast little thing.
I'm glad somebody touched. I'm glad somebody touched base.
Yeah.
So much going on.
Because right. And that was like when she originally set the dates, I was like, ooh. I'll see what I can do.
Going on this weekend, dog. There's so much going on. So I'm glad you saw her. Shout out Tej. I'm glad someone touched base. I love that. And I also love that there's no pressure. Like she's here for it. Like you know what I mean? No love. Maybe there was just no way I could have gotten it. So shout out to Tej, Marcus, and the family, all of that. All right, we good there?
Yeah.
Got all that real shit out of the way. Love, motherfucking Indiana Pacers. Here we go. Show me some Mary. What's on deck, bro?
Yeah, we're just going to do a breakdown. So we've got the, obviously, Pacers, Oklahoma City in the final, 2 small market teams. It's something to be celebrated in that alone. That's just amazing. I honestly did not think the NBA was going to let that happen, and they did. So, so we're here. We're going to do a breakdown. We're going to talk about the path that OKC took, the path that the Pacers took. We're going to go matchup by matchup when it comes to point guard to center to bench. Then we have some couple other little questions here. We'll talk a little bit about Tibbs firing just to kind of get a reaction.
Crazy.
And go from there. But this is going to be a nice, short, sweet. We got you about a half an hour, 45 minutes at the most, y'all. That's what we got for y'all.
We always say that. But for that's what it's going to be.
That's what's going to be.
Shout outs, Pacers fans. Yo, you guys deserve this. We are so happy for you. We're so happy for ourselves, but we are so happy for our Pacers friends and fans out there. 25 freaking years in the making. I was 20 by the time this happened. You were 12. So, yo, we're adults together. This is mad dope. I wish tickets weren't $1,000 fucking dollars.
It's a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot for 3 hours of an experience. If I'm doing something for 3 hours, it better come with a couple of women and some good drugs for that much money. I'm just saying. That's a lot of money. So I'm gonna make a game. You might find me outside watching that game with them niggas, but you are not gonna find me in there. What would you what would you spend $1,000 for to go do for 3 hours?
Man, not a lot. Not a lot. I'm close to this. I'm
You still on the cusp?
I'm on the cusp of grabbing a ticket. I don't know that I can actually pull the trigger. I think I will actually make my decision tomorrow at 2 p.m. when the official tickets go on sale for game 3, 4, and 6.
Oh, they're not on sale. The official tickets aren't on sale.
The official tickets start tomorrow at 2 p.m. These are all the resales and all of that stuff right now. But again, I don't think that they'll be
any
less expensive. I just think you'll have more options to choose from.
Fair.
So yeah, I don't know that I can physically do it.
Fair.
But if I get a wild hair and y'all see me in a seat on Friday, y'all see me in a seat on next Friday. I can't make any kind of promises to nobody, including myself.
Waldo, about to be Waldo on these hoes. You just might find it, nigga. You just might find it, nigga.
The camera might span and you might see me doing this. I don't know. What's up? Yeah. I might not tell nobody. I don't know. We'll just see.
I might not even know. Like, nigga, what you doing? Anything? Like,
yeah, like no one may know.
I see.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
All right, that's what's up. Big ups to Pacers fans. We need to take a break and come back. You want to just keep going? Like, how you want to do this since we're on a Zoom call?
Zoom call. We're on it.
Moving on to the next segment. We're back. Pinnacle Professional Coaching. That is one of our sponsors. Big ups to them. Mad love to you. Moving on to our next segment, NBA Finals Breakdown. We're going to talk about the finals, OKC path, Pacers path, how they got there. We're going to talk about each position, player for player, and
Yeah.
just go through some shit. You want to kick it off with the OKC path? You brought this in, so let's go.
Yeah, let's do so OKC, they're 12-4 through the Western Conference Finals. Thunder took series in 4-game sweep in that Western Conference Finals. Not surprised. I don't think
in their opening series.
Opening series, I'm sorry, yeah. Not surprised that they beat Memphis. I think none of us were really, Ja kind of had some hurt. Plus, I don't really trust none of them over on that team right now, including Ja.
Amen. Especially
so
Ja.
Yeah. So they swept them. There was a couple competitive games, but they swept them. Honestly, too close of some competitive games. It reminded me of the Celtics Pacers last year, where there were some close games, and you're like, okay, see, you're better than this type of a thing, right?
Yep.
Thunder beat the Nuggets in a 7-game series. This is the one that I'm actually very surprised that Denver pretty banged up. To me, this could have gone either way. You had
Gordon got hurt, they could have won this series.
Yeah, and you had Michael Porter Jr., who I don't really trust anyway, but he also had a shoulder injury at the same time. So that's huge. No, his shot was off, and it made sense. Obviously, Jokic did his Jokic thing, but I didn't really believe in Denver most of this season because they're not quite the same. Nope. So to take OKC to a 7-game series actually made me feel like they have weaknesses.
After firing your head coach
firing your head coach, which was also stupid. Yeah. So that one was one that was
You got some questions.
I have some questions. I got some questions because of that. Okay. And then Thunder went on to the Timberwolves, 4-1. Timberwolves kind of got exposed in there. There's a little bit of a mixed thing to me, right? I think it's the Timberwolves not being quite ready, a piece away. Because to me, you're talented enough because you won by 40 in one of these games.
40.
Right? So, to me, there was the mental part wasn't there in majority of those, including Ant. I think there was some young thing where I'm like, interesting.
That is a phenomenal segue to something you didn't even see me right in there.
I didn't. I just looked at it. I didn't even see that. So there you go.
Western Conference Finals. Dallas last year, OKC this year, both 4-1 losses. So I got 2 questions for you. Number 1, what will it take for Minnesota to get over the hump? What are they missing?
Oh, man. They need another non-Julius Randle scorer.
Okay.
Julius Randle is too up and down,
okay.
and roller coasters make me nauseous. So,
that was a bar,
right?
That was a bar.
I'm sorry, Julius, you can't go out and score 30 something that first game, and even though it's a loss, you're like, oh, Julius Randle's ready to play, and then you go out and do your 7-8 points, being the size that you are, being the dog that you are, and what your type of game normally is. You're not a facilitator, so you're not really picking up the slack in too much of another area. You'll
have 14 assists to make up for it.
Yeah, you're okay on the defensive end, but you are an offensive threat most of the time, and I think he's just too inconsistent to play next to him. And then Gobert, it was a glitch that he had 27 in the playoffs or whatever.
Not an offensive threat at all.
Not an offensive threat. He looks goofy on the offensive side of the ball. Defensive side of the ball, he looks great. He looks goofy on the offensive side of the ball. He's basically Cat on the defensive side of the ball on offense.
Jesus, Lord have Jesus. We'll talk about that. Other question: is Ant-Man too immature to lead a team to the NBA Finals, to the NBA championship? Even not mature, but is he not? Michael Jordan at 23, 24 was way different mentally on the court.
Yeah.
LeBron at 22, 23 seemed to be a little bit different mentally. Kobe definitely was. Ant-Man is a dog. Ant-Man has a dog in him, but is he still a little bit too playful? Or no?
Maybe a little bit. I think he has flashes of this killer instinct, right?
He's a killer.
He has flashes of Michael and Kobe when you see him on the floor, right?
He wants that smoke.
The way he gets to the basket, his low ball rise, that when he's in his gather and he brings it down low to kind of stop from hands hitting the ball.
Yep.
That it gives me Kobe Jordan vibes.
That's exactly what I'm asking.
Very, very similar to that. He is a young guy. He likes to have more fun than Kobe in that. I don't think that there's a wrong way or that can't be implemented to do that. I
Okay.
just think both of those people, if we're saying Kobe and Michael, had help to win a championship. They had a
Okay.
Scotty, they had a Shaq, they had a Pau Gasol, they had somebody that's going to also contribute to this because we saw what Kobe was like with no one on the squad. You can score 50, but you're going to have a losing record.
Okay. That's
Right.
that's fair. All right. That's a good answer. Pacers path. Pacers are 12 and 4 through the Eastern Conference Finals, to the Eastern Conference period. Pacers in 5 versus the Bucks. We low key own Milwaukee and took them out quickly. Yes, Dame was missing and he was injured, but I don't think it would have mattered too much. Maybe Pacers in 6 if he's healthy. I don't think it matters a whole lot because
Nah.
I think Carlisle is such a better coach than Doc, so I don't even really think Evish
Yeah.
could figure that out.
Yeah.
Took on Cleveland, a team that had major injuries with Garland, Mobley, and Hunter, 2 starters, and their 6 man out. That did matter in the playoffs. I'll admit that, but we also were 3-1 versus them during the regular season. So let's just call that what that is. We were 7-2 versus the Cavs overall this season. Sometimes matchups just matter, bro, and we're a very tough matchup for
Yeah.
the Cavaliers. Like it just is what it is. Um, they didn't really feel playoff ready to me, in my opinion, as well. Like,
Are you mean the Cavs?
definitely mean the Cavs.
Yeah. Yeah. I completely agree. They're a great team on paper.
Great regular season.
Great regular season. I completely agree. I don't think every part of that team is crisp enough to play 4 rounds and 3 rounds in the playoffs quite yet. I think that's going to be, and I honestly think that now we're going to see some changes with the Cavs. I think that we're going to see a Jarrett Allen be moved.
I agree.
To get some more crisp there. I think you might see Evan Mobley move back to the 5, which I think he would be a little bit more comfortable there.
Go get some really nice wing players and all of that
shit.
3 and 3 guys, like for sure.
I think Cavs, I think what the Pacers have shown as a 6 seed last year and then a 4 seed this year, right? I think that them and OKC have showed that the new formula for success is bench depth. And you got to be able to play a 9 to 11 man rotation depending on what your roster looks like, and it just adds to the playoffs, and like you're never tired because you have somebody that can just step right in. I think that's the biggest thing, the key to success now. Playing the fast pace, you plug it in and go, and until more teams start to establish that roster, the 3 superstars with nobody else is not working the same way.
Fair.
Pacers isn't.
Pacers and then in the Eastern Conference Finals, the rivalry was returned, my dog. Pacers versus Knicks. We stole that game 1, which I don't think that the Knicks fan base and the Knicks organization will ever live that down. I think that will haunt their organization and probably change the infrastructure of this team. Obviously, Tibbs got fired, and that's probably a reason why you can't lose to them twice in a row.
Yeah.
I think this may have single-handedly changed the infrastructure of what's about to happen in New York, and game 1 is a humongous part of that.
Yeah. It's
crazy.
The young teams in the East are going to have basically taken over the East, because not like everyone's scared of the Pacers right now, and I love that. But right now, everyone's scared of them, and I think the next one up is Detroit coming in the East, and they are going to get better and better, and they're going to be dangerous in the playoffs because they are building a similar type of team as the Pacers, but play with even more Detroit attitude. So like they're coming. I keep saying Orlando is coming. The top 6 is going to be. It's going to look different with the Celtics being blown up now. We're going to see Jaylen Brown probably be moved this year.
You think so?
Yeah, I think that you need to get some picks back first and foremost. You have your chosen star in Tatum out for the full year. You're going to probably try to get some future picks back because we don't know what Tatum will look like in basically 2 seasons because that was at the end of the season he got hurt.
I would keep Jalen if it was my program, but it's not my franchise. Um, so yeah, man, 4-2. Knicks out of here. We'll probably see a completely different Knicks team pretty soon.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're gonna run that back. They got OG, they got Josh Hart.
Yeah, there's a lot of rumors with that, right? I think the biggest thing is if somebody gets moved, I think we're already going to see Cat be out. Is the one, and mainly because the what behind the scenes are is that you're hearing people were very upset on the lack of defense. Now, I also don't know why people were surprised of that because that's kind of been the thing since he's gotten out of college. He was a lot better at defense in college than he was now because his offensive game got so good he stopped focusing on the defensive side of the ball.
Is he Kentucky?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. You play for Cal? You play for Calipari?
Yeah, he played for Calipari. So the latest one that I saw, which it'd be hard to imagine, but just because we've heard him say that he'd want to go to the Knicks at some point, would be Durant for Cat, and then he would go play with what's his name, who he played with at Kentucky. So, um, why can't I think of names? Why are names hard for me?
Not Devin Booker.
Devin Booker.
Is it Devin Booker? Right, Book, right?
Yeah, they played together at Kentucky.
Well, he played with Book at Kentucky?
Yeah. Cat played with Book at Kentucky. So that was the one thing that I kind of saw where I was like, I wouldn't be surprised. And I think we're going to see.
You find Devin Booker, bro?
What's that?
You couldn't think of Devin Booker?
I don't know. I don't do names.
Light-skinned people. You should know, bro.
Yeah, my bad. But yeah, I think that we're going to see Giannis be moved. I'm seeing that possibly be Toronto, San Antonio. He's moving. You're going to see the three teams that you're going to see a new star on will be San Antonio, Toronto, and or the Knicks. And I say that just because, and I know Toronto is like the why Toronto because what's the old boy's name that had run the GM at Toronto that keeps making great stuff? What's his name?
African dude, but not
yeah.
Asai
Jari or Jari something. Yep. Yeah.
That's right though. It's definitely Asai.
Yeah. He is known to make big splash stuff, and he does it well. He's going to go, and they have the assets right now to do it. I think you're going to see somebody go, let's just go up to Toronto and see what happens. And I think a couple stars could go up that way.
Who the hell's on Toronto's roster?
RJ Barrett's there. What's that?
Canada's own.
Yep. On
the roster.
You've got like 3 young guys on there that could get you enough to get some stuff. So
right. Enough to get some stuff. Sometimes
enough to get some stuff.
Enough to get some stuff. You know what I'm talking
about? Amen to that.
Matchups.
Let's talk about it.
Those matchups. What'd you say?
I said, let's talk about it.
We're going to go position by position, starting with point guards. OKC's SGA versus the Indiana Pacers Haliburton. You want to talk about it? What you want to do?
I don't know how much there is to talk about on this one, but we know what SGA is going to do, right? You know, he's MVP this year, bucket getter, as you wrote, which I love because it's true. It's annoying, but he can hoop, right?
He can hoop.
Yeah. 32.7 points, 5 rebounds, 6.4 assists. That's regular season. Is this the 39 points, 8 rebounds versus Indy? Is that
in their 2 games this season?
In their 2 games, that's what I thought. Okay, so plain and simple, he's gonna get his. I think the one thing is how can we limit free points?
Fair.
Free throw line. How can we limit and not get into close to double digits and free throws? That's the one thing. And he's going to get to the free throw line. I mean, he knows how to do it. That's part of his game. But if we can play, if the refs allow us to play like they let us play Brunson in those last few games where he's also that, I think the Pacers figured out a really great way to be aggressive while not giving up too many fouls.
You just took the words right out of my mouth. We just saw this same similar type of style with Brunson in this last round, and hopefully Carlisle is on it. I agree completely.
And a big part of that, right? The chess match that is coaching or the leaders on the floor have to be vocal in the right way with the refs to go, I need you to look because you said that's a foul, but he's holding me. The longer it got into that series in the Knicks, the refs started looking for Brunson causing the foul and Cat causing the foul more so than
arm and all that shit.
Yeah. So like that's kind of part of the game. The Carlisle has to be in there. It's like, hey, you got to be looking at this. The Haliburtons, the TJ McConnells, they have to be in the refs. Like, hey, at timeout, like, hey, ref, just so you know, he's doing that. Can you just keep your eye on that? Like, you have to be able to do that in the right way without getting a tech, without complaining too much. You have to do that because it's going to be the first few games, especially in OKC. It's going to be probably pretty egregious until the refs figure out how to control the series.
Bars, he will get his. And then you got Hallie, Mr. Overrated himself, facilitated first, that you said, but he can get buckets. Average 18.6, 3.5 rebounds, 9.2 assists in the regular season. 11 points, 5.5 assists during OKC. Must be aggressive, and I will imagine they will do what the Knicks did and put pressure on the high pick and roll. You put that in there.
I did.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, they're gonna do it because
they also might guard him 94 feet and try to prevent the fast break when they score buckets.
Yeah. We have a carbon copy with bigger athletes in OKC, right? They're very similarly built with larger athletes and a little bit better when it comes to that. We play almost the exact same style as OKC does. They just have a little bit larger guys and some little bit better talent doing it, right? So, like, yeah, Dort is going to be, even though you're going to see I have the shooting guard to point guard, but when it comes to who's actually going to guard who, and we'll talk about that, like, I wouldn't be surprised when you say pick him up. I think that's going to be a Dort and a Caruso will be the two main guys on Haliburton because No, SGA ain't doing that. You're going to see SGA on Nimhard on that side of the ball. That just is what it is. And they're also not going to put Haliburton on the other side against SGA because they don't want Haliburton to get the foul trouble.
Fair.
You're going to put Neesmith. You're going to put Nimhard on that. So I think the Dort is going to be on Haliburton. Those two will be on each other that way. So, yeah, I agree. I think you're going to see this is going to be 94 feet. This is going to be a lot of conditioning for both of these teams. I'll tell you that much. Like, we're playing full court. They're playing full court. We're playing transition offense and transit. Like, this is going to be
basketball. This is going to be some of the best basketball cats have seen in a long time.
Hands down. Like, this is going to be back and forth, up and down the court. Everybody going to be tired after this series.
Tired. Couldn't agree more. Dort versus Nimby.
Yep.
Dort's fifth season out of Arizona State. Great defender, 6'4", 220, 10 points per game, 4 rebounds, 1.6 assists in the regular season. But, versus Indy, he averaged 17.5 points and shot 60% from the three-point line. You said Dort may be switched to Haliburton as he's the best defender on the team. Great lockdown defender, bro.
Yeah, he was first all-team defense or second all-team defense? Yeah, first all-team defense. He's incredible. He's probably
deservingly so.
Yeah, he's probably the best on-ball defender that we have in the league. If not, he's in that top 5. Yeah, he's pretty incredible. And I kind of forgot about that until I really started watching him again as in the playoffs. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be a really, really tough out. We got to be just as aggressive as they are because if Haliburton's not doing it and getting to the free throw line and plays into that, then this is going to be a quick series. It just is. So we gotta figure that out pretty fast on that. Dort's incredible. Now Nimhard on the other side. I mean, obviously we got third season out of Gonzaga. Awesome defender. He had about 2.5 games in the last series where we were like, is he okay? Because offensively and defensively, they had his number. I think we saw in this last game the wake up of Nembhard.
Lockdown.
Where he hit a couple of his shots still a little bit off just by how it was hitting the rim. You can tell it's not quite exactly where he is. He's normally a swish. He's not normally hitting rim. So that just tells you it's just a little off. But he was scoring again. He hit a pivotal three. He hit a couple of his little free throw line, mid-range jumpers that he does when he kind of gives a little body and does that fade away. But he did lockdown on Brunson the whole game. And got him so frustrated that Brunson started headbutting. He started like just getting really angry. I mean, he just
got out of his body. He got
out of his body. So we need that guy. We're going to need some points from him, right? We're going to need some points from him, but I definitely need you on the defensive side of the ball as much as possible. We cannot be complacent with that.
I agree. Great word. 10 points per game, but he upped it to 19 and a half and 7 rebounds versus OKC in their 2 games.
And that just tells you how much they were guarding Haliburton. So this is exactly what needs to happen. Haliburton's going to probably be locked down quite a bit until the other people start scoring and they have to readjust. This is where the other guys have to really step up. So, Nembhard, you're going to probably control the ball more than you did because Haliburton's going to have to pass it up. We're going to have to figure out how to have Haliburton play more off ball on the offense than on ball, right?
We're vibing. And Nembhard can do that.
Yeah.
Small forward, Jalen Williams versus Nesmith. Williams' 3rd season. Super hooper on his way to being a superstar. 21.6. 5 rebounds, 5 assists, regular season. He's a 25-5 whenever he wants to. 19 and 5.5 during versus Indy. And you are absolutely right. He is a Scottie Pippen to SGA's Michael Jordan. He can explode for 35 or 40 if you need him to.
Yeah, it's so funny when you watch replays of him or you watch him play. When you look at the size comparisons, like obviously like Nesmith is bigger, but Jalen Williams looks bigger.
Thank you.
Right? Like, I don't know if it's the arm length. I don't know if it's the torso, right? Whatever it is, but like when you look at we got an inch,
small bigger,
right? Like we got an inch and 4 pounds, but like Nesmith looks small next to Jalen Williams.
Thank you. Speaking of Nesmith, though, 5th season, 6'6", 215, super defender, super smooth hooper, as we know. 12 points, 4 rebounds, 1.2 assists, but that doesn't really tell you enough about his game to me. And also versus OKC, he actually has only averaged 7 points and shot 33% from the 3-point line. And I say that because his 3-point shooting is going to be pivotal in this series, which is why I mentioned that. So I would like to say that this 7 points is an anomaly, and he's probably going to really average his 14 to 17, which is what we're going to need out of him if we're even going to stand a chance in this damn series.
Yeah, for sure. I would imagine, as much as I was not a huge fan of having close to 7 days, 5 days rest or whatever, I like kind of keeping moving. I'm sure his ankle loved having the rest that we had. So I'll applaud on that point. As what we finished that on Saturday. Was that when we won that game, right?
Wrap it up. Yep, sure was.
Yeah, so like I'm sure he's feeling great. I'm sure Turner, because I actually think Turner, and we'll talk about that, is a little hurt. I think he's more hurt. You see him going back to the locker room quite a bit during the games. He comes right back out, but he's getting something injected or wrapped up. Something's happening. Like you don't just walk back there. What you doing back there? Yeah, like let me snort some coke real quick just to get my energy real fast. Yeah, so like I think Nesmith's ankle is probably loving that. And we'll talk about somebody else's ankle here in a second.
All right. Power forward. Chet versus Siakam. Home grid. Yo, I gotta give it to Chet, bro.
Yeah.
Chet actually impressed the hell out of me this season. That white boy can hoop. I didn't see this one coming from him out of Gonzaga. 15 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists in the regular season. Nothing really changes much in the playoffs for him, but he's shooting almost 40% from the 3-point line versus Indy. I didn't know he could shoot that thing like that. Like, might fucking be a problem for bro.
This is my matchup of the series.
Amen.
This is my matchup of the series.
We have to win the matchup.
Yeah, Siakam, 10th season out of New Mexico. and I kind of been here before, right? Like he ended up being our Eastern Conference Finals MVP over Haliburton. Still one of the funniest videos I've seen of Haliburton not getting that one
for sure.
yeah, that was hilarious. But 20.2 points, 6.9 rebounds, 3.4 assists regular season, 16.4 2 assists against OKC. He needs to be in that 20-point range. I think he can do that against Chet.
He needs to be in the 25-point range.
And again, remember, this is an OKC team that still had this record, and Chet and Hartenstein were out for a big chunk of this, the season. So, I mean, they were both out for like the first 20 games or something like that, if I remember right. So I think you're going to see this matchup because on the defensive side, when it comes to Siakam going against Holmgren, I think Siakam did a pretty damn good job against Cat when he was on Cat. I think, he still can get his, but you slowed him down enough. Holmgren ain't that big.
Thank you.
So, like,
you ain't just gonna body Pascal for this.
No, he might be a little faster.
Either OG was doing him, you know what I mean? Different styles.
But I will say this: Siakam's footwork underneath the basket is better than Chet's right now. Thanks. And so when Siakam gets him posted up and he uses his little shoulders and feels it, Draymond Green came out and said that he was one of the hardest people he ever had to guard when it comes to playoff time, and he was like the only one that he felt like he actually got me, one of the few people. I think you can get Holmgren. If you can get Holmgren into foul trouble, that's going to be a big key to this one. And I think that you can.
Okay. Just keep him uncomfortable. Keep him
uncomfortable. Yeah.
Uncomfortable. Moving on. Center position. Your boy Isaiah Hartenstein out of Germany versus Miles Turner. Big body veteran Hartenstein knows how to hoop, control the paint. Plays well with other role players, a rim protector. Part of the reason that the Knicks are not as good defensively, if you ask me. I think they losing him was humongous for them this year. 11 points, 11 rebounds, 3.8 assists, complete double-double, man. Numbers come down versus Indiana. Could have just been, not playing as much, whatever the case may be. Then you got Miles. 10th season out of Texas, all with the Pacers. Stretch 5, mad underrated. The brother's finally getting his just due as a big timer in the NBA. Big defender, can shoot that three. Great mid-range game. We got to keep him out of foul trouble in this series. Averaging 15.5, 6.5 rebounds during the regular season. And again, his numbers came down exponentially to 11.5 points and 1.5 assists versus OKC. And this stat, 14.3% from the three-point line versus OKC. Has to be. Has to be.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was a confidence thing, right? I think we saw you're in your own head type of stuff with Turner in some of the season. I say the same thing with Nembhard. I think those are the two guys that they're playing in quicksand. One thing goes wrong, then the next thing goes wrong. You don't know how to struggle. The more you struggle, the more you fall into the quicksand. That's exactly what was happening with both of them. Exactly.
You can't play basketball.
And we saw that. I'll never forget the pivotal moment in Game 6 on Saturday when Turner finally hit a three, or he had an and one, and he went to the bottom of the basket, and he was like,
he had an and one.
Like, yeah, he had that and one, and you're like, all right,
okay, we're gonna be all right.
We're gonna be all right. I think you're fine. You got through that one. Hartenstein's a big body. We know what big bodies do to Turner. I think the one thing I know, and yeah. I think he's just got to be able to wear Hartenstein out. Hartenstein's got quick feet, so it's not like he can just completely blow around him. Hartenstein's a really, really good center, and I think the Knicks were dumb to actually get rid of Hartenstein, to be very transparent. But Hartenstein's a really, really good hooper.
Thank you for being New York.
Yeah, I think that was really stupid of them. But Dolan's Dolan and their whole thingy. So this will be pivotal. We need Miles confidently taking shots.
You got to win this, Miles.
The one thing you see when he is not confident and Nembhard is when they get the ball and they're like, I should shoot, but I shouldn't shoot, so I'll shoot. And you'll see them tap their foot, their front foot, and then they'll shoot way too late. It's not in the flow of the pass.
Just shoot.
That's the reason that they missed, when they're not confident in the shot. So we'll see that happen. I think Turner will be fine after that. Because now you're in your 10th season. You're going into a contract year.
You better figure it out.
Figure it out, buddy.
All right, real quick before we move on, I'm just gonna say who wins the matchup. Give me a name. SGA versus Holly. Who wins?
SGA is going to win that matchup. Yeah.
Short versus Nimby. Who wins?
They both do kind of different things. I'm going to say I feel really confident in this one. I'm going to actually say Nimhard wins this matchup.
My dog. Jalen versus Neesmith. Who wins? I think they even each other out.
I think they even each other out.
I do. Chet versus Siakam. Who wins?
I think solely because Siakam's more of the actual second option on the team. I think Siakam wins this matchup.
Hartenstein versus Turner. Who wins? Hartenstein.
It's either Hartenstein or washout.
Okay, that's fair.
It's either Hartenstein or washout, which I'm okay with.
Okay.
I think you're going to see this go by game to game. You're going to see probably 2 to 3 games of Miles Turner being Miles Turner, and then you'll see some other ones that are like 10 points, whatever, like that. So it'll balance.
Okay. Moving on, talking about the bench. OKC bench. Caruso, Carson Wallace, Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Joe. What do we think about their bench? You said Caruso will be more likely to guard Haliburton after Dort. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah, very similar to ours. Very similar to ours. Obviously,
I can't believe how similar these teams really are, bro. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, Caruso very similar to the TJ McConnell, but just a better defender. And a way more athletic, better 3-point shot. TJ McConnell more feisty. Makes bigger plays when it comes to steals here and there. I think his are more exciting,
more annoying, more of a
the
nag.
Yeah. I think the big one with this is Toppin. To me, is the best athlete coming off the bench when we go matchup to the bench. He's the best athlete that we have, right? When it comes to these benches, he's a guy that technically, if he wanted to, could go score 20.
Okay.
I think he doesn't drive to the basket enough. I think that. The other one that I'll say is they do not have a Mathurin on their bench.
Okay. Now we go. That's who I was waiting to talk about. I feel like Ben Mathurin is such a pivotal piece to this NBA Finals, and I hope that him and Carlisle have had a real sit-down talk like, bro, you are the fucking attitude. You are one of the best athletes on the team. You are one of the best players on this team when you are hooping like Ben Math. You can go out and get 25-5 whenever the fuck you feel like it, but you are also about that smoke. You're a hockey player. You don't give a fuck about scrapping. You don't give a fuck about getting dirty. Like, he will be so important to the leadership off the bench for this team in this NBA Finals, and I hope he knows that.
Yeah, we got through the Knicks series with really one game that it was like, okay, there's Ben Math. We need him averaging 16 to 20 off of the bench in this series to win this series.
No doubt.
He's got it. He's our guy that gets to the free throw line. He's our guy that does get the attitude. He's our guy that gets annoying. Like he's TJ McConnell, but scary, right? Like he's he's actually we'll go fight. Like if you want to go fight, we'll fight.
Plays hockey. You know what I'm saying?
So I think he is probably the most pivotal piece in this series when it comes to success. Shepherd, I just need you not to make mistakes. Hit a couple threes, but keep he shuffles his feet very, very well. So I like him on the defensive side of the ball. He's going to be pivotal as well. I love Bryant and Tony as our kind of two, depending on what kind of size. It's the fact that we found 5 centers this year. I mean, 2 of them got hurt. That really any of these guys can contribute. You have to applaud Tony Bradley, the fact that he got a 10-day contract and then we signed him for the rest of the season, and then he can go hey, because I need more size, Bryant, you're going to sit down, and he's ready to go. He's the bigger body. He can go get a rebound. He can hit a couple free throws, and that's all I need from you. Like he's our,
Yep. Yep.
That's amazing. The
Stay
fact that
ready.
we got Bryant for a second round pick is crazy to me when we lost those guys, and he can go hit 3 3-pointers real quick and be really the savior of that game.
And be great in the locker room, great on the sidelines. Just stay ready, bro.
Yeah.
Stay ready.
Yeah. So I like our bench more than OKC's, to be very transparent.
That was my next question.
And then you have they're being very silent with how serious Walker's ankle is. That was really nasty. The fact that Carlisle said he's just out the first 2 games, or minimally the first 2 games. Because if there's actually like a surgery needed, they would have already said he's out. We've already had surgery. Right. So that was probably one of the worst sprains that I've seen, if it's just a sprain.
That shit was all the way on the floor, bro.
But if for some reason we can get Walker back, I think we're golden.
Okay. All right. Moving on. OKC was 2-0 versus the Pacers during the regular season. December 26th, they beat them 120-114, and then March 29th, they beat them 132-111. You moved on. You put on some playoff ranking statistics. Talk your talk, dog.
Yeah, and I'll go back to that. Let's remember December 26th of 2024, that wasn't even the Pacers yet.
I agree.
That wasn't the Pacers yet. So, they were at that point where they were playing up or down to the team that they were in front of. So Haliburton didn't get his rest. We didn't start to see the Pacers be the Pacers until really starting of January and really closer to All-Star break. So that one was great. And that 132-111 was close most of that game. Yep. They just went on that last run. So, it's not a bad little sample size of what this series can be. But when we go to playoff ranking stats, pace of play, we have OKC. Of course, they are first in pace of play. Indy is second. Fast break points, OKC first, Indy second. Points off turnovers a game, OKC first, Indy second. Turnover differential, OKC first, Indy third. This is going to be one of the best finals we've seen in a while.
I could not agree more. We'll make our predictions and our final words in the fine print, what we think is going to happen. So we're just going to move on real quick. You put final question. What you got?
Should Knicks have let Tibbs go? Or did Dolan?
I think this is very hard for me to say. Interestingly enough, both things can be true.
Mm-hmm.
Both things can be true. Should they have let Tibbs go? No. Can you lose to the Indiana Pacers in the Eastern Conference semifinals at home in Game 7, and then lose to the Indiana Pacers the next year in the Eastern Conference Finals in Game 6, and have that be okay to the Knicks fans, the Knicks organization, the city? We're talking about the Indiana Pacers, bro. You can lose to anybody twice in a row except for the fucking Indiana Pacers. So, do I understand the fire? Yes. But Tibbs, there was nothing Tibbs could have done against the Pacers, bro. There's nothing he could have done. Cat and Brunson were defensive liabilities the whole series, and that just was what that was.
Yeah. I mean, you had some pivotal coaching mistakes. I think that if for some reason they actually won the first game and didn't blow the 20-point lead, we're having a different conversation. Even if they lost the series, but to start the series and you go, we could have been up, it could have been 1-1 and not 2-0. That kind of changes this. Like, okay, you started behind. We already know that you have a reputation of only playing a certain amount of guys, and that's kind of gotten you fired from different places.
And you also showed when you went deep into your bench that some of them niggas can play basketball.
Correct. The plus minus with Brunson off the floor was better than it was when he was on the floor. By a lot. We didn't know what to do with those guys. We had never seen them before. And I mean, yeah, some of these guys hadn't gotten ticked since practice.
Some of
So
the cats on that bench can play basketball, bro. Like,
yeah. So I think you kind of showed, which honestly probably made it worse for the GM. Like, you got these guys on the bench and you ain't playing them.
playoffs.
Now, if they would have gone in and been bad, you're like, this is why I only play 7 guys. That makes sense. But they played really, really well, and they were actually better than some of the starters when it came to plus minus. So, yeah, I think you're right. I think both of these things can be right. Depends on how deep you want to go and what the topic is.
And what you guys are going to do next. That's the question I have for you. Okay, you fire Tibbs, but don't go hire Doc Rivers.
Right. Is the next guy going to keep the same roster, and you think that a different person's going to actually do better with this roster?
That's exactly. Don't go
probably
like
not.
D'Antoni. You know what I'm saying? Like,
probably not. If you make a change and then also get somebody else, okay, we'll see how that goes. But Tibbs is a guy that made the playoffs 4 out of the 5 years. You made the semifinals and then the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years, just like the Pacers, because we beat y'all 25 years ago to make it to the finals, just like 25 years ago.
That hurt.
So, yeah, like, hey, same for us, but we also beat y'all to make it to the finals. So that's just yeah. Ooh, my bad. So I think that is, I don't know who, but please don't. What I will say for the Knicks, and this is not as a Knicks fan, but it's just as a basketball fan, please don't get one of them tired, same old recycled coaches. The only one that I will let you go do, because this man shouldn't have been fired this year either. Not even that. Mike Malone. Mike Malone deserves to have a head coaching job, and I think that he would be a very, very good coach for this New York Knicks.
I cannot disagree with that. Moving on to the fine print, my brother. Our next segment, NBA Finals words and predictions. If you are a basketball fan, if you value boxing out, transition play, great role play, phenomenal play off the bench, great coaching, stars doing their jobs in their roles, other players in their roles, this will be one of the best NBA Finals. If you take the teams away, you don't give a fuck about Lakers and New York and Miami and big cities and all of that, and you are a basketball fan, sit back and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
That's truly what I think about it.
Yeah, I agree. So go ahead. I'm sorry. I just
that was where I was just starting it. You can't do what you say. What you gonna say?
No, I agree. I think we're about to see one of the most exciting series. What I do hope, as a Pacers fan, is that we don't see like a sweep. I don't want to see that. I don't think that we will by any means. I do think that Pacers are actually ready for this moment. We are going to see some of the best basketball in the NBA in ball movement that we've seen a little bit. This will give you some of that professional college feel when it comes to ball movement and team play, because those are the two things that we have seen. You see two coaches that have actually built teams in an old school way where we are going to win by community and by team instead of by individual. Yes, there are some stars on each of these teams, but they rely on all of the other parts to make sure that the wheels keep turning the right way. This is going to be one of the most exciting finals that we've seen a little bit. And I don't have to hear LeBron's name. I don't have to hear Luka's name. I don't have to hear Jason Tatum's name. We're going to hear people be elevated, because at this point, we are ready for the next people that are going to, because the old guard is about to move on. The Steph Currys, the Kevin Durant's, the LeBron James. We're a few years away from not having any of those guys. So we need to start being excited for these other teams that are going to be, and stop worrying about these what ratings are going to be and all that kind of stuff. Stop it. Just go watch some good basketball.
Maybe watch the NBA Finals. You can say that you're not going to watch the NBA Finals.
It's the NBA Finals.
Y'all are watching the NBA Finals. Cut it out. Predictions, Pops. What you got? This is tough.
So I don't know if you're familiar with the corgi, right? The corgi that does the predictions. The owner throws the basketball in the air and he does it. Corgi's undefeated. So Corgi has the Pacers in 6.
I saw that.
Pacers in 6, the Corgi has. I don't know that it will go the exact same way. They have the Pacers winning the very first game. I actually also believe that is pivotal that we steal the first game of the series. Um, we'll see if that happens, but I would love to steal the first game. That's the one that you're trying to feel it out. That'd be the one that you steal away in home court in the finals is before they get too comfortable in the series and you figure out how to play somebody. You got to steal one of the first two games before you get too comfortable. It's pivotal that we do that. I have
The question, you see him, you see his apprehension to say his prediction. You see that, right? Y'all feel that, right? Y'all feel the apprehension.
And I want everyone to understand that I'm saying this as a basketball fan and not as a Pacers fan.
Solid. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I have Pacers in 6.
Wow. Wow. He said that with his whole ass chest.
That is me as analyzing what I've seen so far. And honestly thinking of what we just talked about and what our bench can do more than their bench. The benches are going to be the key to this series. And I think Mathern and Toppin are going to both have really good series to take us over. I have the Pacers in 6 in this one.
That's great, bro. That's a great pick. I think the fact that the general management brought this team back because they believed that they could make a run like this is huge. I think their camaraderie, I think their relationships, and their fact that they are so battle tested. I don't really know how battle tested OKC is. OKC hasn't played in season tournaments before and made it to the finals. OKC hasn't played. You know what I mean? They're kind of in new charted territory to some extent. Like this is kind of new to them. Being at
they were one game away from being the Cleveland Cavaliers.
They were one game away from being the Cleveland Cavaliers. And you mean losing?
With losing to Denver. They almost did the exact same thing. Luckily, they had some injuries happen. That's why I have yet to see the Pacers not feel like they were in control of their series in the playoffs thus far.
I feel like OKC is Ivan Drago and the Pacers are Rocky and Rocky 4.
Love it.
Pacers in 6.
Pacers in 6. I do. I honestly do believe that. Yeah. I don't that is me really thinking about it. And I did. As I got worried for this series, I was like OKC in 7, OKC in 6. As I really started breaking this down and started going this to this and really the bench and who can shine and give you the extra and how confident the Pacers have been throughout the playoffs, I got Pacers in 6.
Especially on the road. They don't give a fuck about going on the road.
No.
They're not scared of Madison Square Garden. You definitely ain't scared of OKC.
I think where we know OKC will probably be close to being back to the same, right, next year. And especially in the regular season, they're going to probably have the number 1 seed again. We don't know what's going to happen in the East. We have no idea what it's going to look like. This is our time. This is our chance to do it. We don't know. You got to take advantage.
Chances of going to 3 Eastern Conference Finals in a row is very low.
Very, very low.
Just saying.
Especially because we've done them as a 6 and a 4 seed.
Fair.
Like we haven't even done it as a 1 to 3. Like we have been a 6 and a 4 seed where people think that we accidentally got there. No, y'all just didn't watch enough basketball to know what the team was. And
if we don't, we're winning 60 plus games this year.
Yeah, if we have Wiseman and Isaiah Jackson, I have Pacers in 4. I have Pacers in 5.
That's fair. That's a very fair statement.
Yeah, I do, but I do think that they are ready for the moment because they know that this might be their chance for a while.
Is this something you need to watch at home, or do you need to be out for this?
That's interesting. My lovely wife asked me that question before we started recording, and I said I haven't decided yet.
Okay.
I'm
a phone call away. I'm fucking ready.
Yeah, I mean it's at 8:30, so there's plenty of time to figure that out.
For sure.
I have not decided on what I need to be.
We should be together watching this game, even if it's at a house or something. I feel like I need to be with my brother at least for game 1.
I am 60% 60% sure, and that's going to grow tomorrow when I wake up, right? 60% sure that I will be at Yogi's tomorrow.
Okay. So that's really 85%.
That is 85% sure. I will be at Yogi's in Grandview tomorrow, with a high possibility that I don't show up to work on Friday.
I love everything about that. Great run, bro. Go Pacers.
Yeah.
How long?
Let's go Pacers. Let's have fun with it. Let's enjoy this, because we love the experience. If anyone hasn't done it, I don't know if supplies are still there. You can order the NBA Finals actual legitimate patch that they have on the jerseys for $20. I'm going to get one.
I saw that.
So I'm going to have wifey stitch that on something. I haven't decided what yet.
My dick.
On my dick. I'm going to stitch it right on my dick. Yeah.
All right, bro. Great run. That was fire.
Yeah. Boom.
Is there anything you need to do to help drop this, or is it going to just drop?
Yeah, no, I think I will get the audio over to Buzzsprout tonight. I think, if I remember right, it's been since Holtman since we've done this, I think. So it takes a while for like the audio to download off of Zoom. So I'll do that. If that means I go in late tomorrow morning, that's fine. But I'll watch for it and then go up and at least get it on Buzzsprout. And then I think that I'll have the video right away. So all I'm going to do is literally put this video over on YouTube. I'm not editing because it's Zoom. I'm not going to edit. This is just raw breakdown.
What we do. All right, dope. Let me know when that's up. I'll go in there and do what I do. Make sure it's ready to go tomorrow.
Boom.
Go Pacers.
Go Pacers.
All right, dog. Peace.
It was all a dream. 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 It was all a dream.
Cause I was like 2 years old, first time I heard a beat drop. Yeah. And by 3 years old, I'm learning how to beatbox. Yeah. 4 or 5 years old when I'm putting on the 45s. Final. Needle to the groove, I'm scratching up the sweet spots. Homie from the East Block, in that town where the fiends flock. Skip school all day, mama couldn't keep watch. Fresh fade with the Reeboks. Man, nah, nigga couldn't tell me nothing. I'm so sick in my own lane, preteen, pimping all the light skin, red bone loving. Boombox on with the headphones bumping, dreaming to find my niche. Cause I ain't really know back then when I picked up my first notebook and a black pen, that little nigga with a rhyme like this. I wasn't thinking to the days of a dope band, new EPs on a compact disc. Nah, shit, truth be told, I ain't know I could sound like this. For me back then, it was
all a dream. It was all a dream. It was all a dream. It was all a dream.
Yeah. And this shit right here be the proof dreams do come true. Yeah, and this shit right here be the proof dreams do come true. Yeah, and this shit right here be the proof dreams do come true. Yeah, and this shit right here be the